Muse Music Store and Mahaska County Conservation Board presents Eveland Access Summerfest Music by the River 2024, June 1st from noon to 10 p.m., featuring 8 musical artists with live music, activities like bingo, sand volleyball, and cornhole, food, and much, much more. It's a free event at the Eveland Access Campgrounds at 2890 Galveston Avenue, Oskaloosa. Bring a friend and have a lot of fun at the Eveland Access Summerfest 2024 Music by the River, June 1st from noon to 10 at the Eveland Access Campgrounds.
Hey everyone, Coach Iva here with the Brain Rewired, and tonight I want to talk to you about the power of celebrations. Now, I don't know where you're at in your life. Maybe you are facing a big challenge and you are struggling to get breakthrough, or maybe you are working towards a goal and you are frustrated because you're not seeing a lot of progress. If that's you, I want to talk to you. There is a way that you can train your brain to actually overcome those resistance points that your brain throws up at you, especially when you're working towards achieving a goal, achieving your desired success. Because it's new and unfamiliar territory for your brain will throw up these resistance mechanisms at you. Things like procrastination, overwhelm, fear, anxiety, all of those things are ways for your brain to keep you in the safe and the familiar. Now, there are specific ways that we can train our brain so that we can essentially bypass those resistance mechanisms and overcome them much easier than if we did not train our brain. And I love that we have all of this neuroscience to support, and understand really how our brain works so that we get to tap into that. So what I want to talk to you about today is the power of celebration. And the very first step in this is beginning to focus on what is going well for you in your day-to-day. Your brain has such a strong negative bias, meaning it's really easy for us to see everything that's going wrong in our lives. We don't have to work hard at that. That comes pretty naturally. But this is where you get to train your brain on what's going well. And what I call that is our daily wins. Beginning to gain an awareness every day, those tiny little things and the big things, like all across the board. When something goes well for us, recognizing it. Okay. And I often tell people at the beginning, it's going to feel kind of clunky because you haven't maybe done that before. And it feels a little strange because we're not familiar with that. But the more we work towards gaining that awareness of what's going well for us, focusing on our daily wins, the easier it's going to become for us. And the next step in that process is to celebrate our wins, which essentially those celebrations are what drives that win deeper into our brain. And long term, your brain will actually want more of what's going well for you. And so that's what I'm talking about in the training process of training our brain to work for us versus against us. Now, what happens in the brain when you celebrate your wins? It's called giving your brain a shot of dopamine. When you celebrate your wins, the brain gets this shot of dopamine, that feel good chemical, and the brain loves that. And so the brain essentially will go back and process and say, okay, what was that got us to this point? Let's repeat that. So what you're doing in that process is you're essentially overcoming things like procrastination and overwhelm, like I talked about, those resistance mechanisms that come up for you. And you begin I like to call it like a snowball effect. The more that you gain awareness of your wins, what's going well for you, and then celebrate them to drive them deeper, you start this snowball effect in your life where you start to see progress. And the more progress you see, the faster it goes because you're giving your brain what it needs. Now, I'm going to just give you a few examples of how you can implement like mini celebrations in your day-to-day. I'm not talking about big celebrations that you plan for the future, like I've reached this goal, then I'm going to celebrate this way. I'm talking about implementing little mini celebrations in your day-to-day that train your brain to see what's going, when you notice what's going well, you celebrate, and then your brain wants more of that. And that's going to speed up the process towards reaching your big goals. And the ways that we can implement some of these mini celebrations is things like getting up, taking a few stretches and a few deep breaths, or going outside for some fresh air, or grabbing a cup of coffee, or maybe you have a favorite snack, or maybe you text a friend and share your win with a friend. These are all ways that you can celebrate those wins. And it's not like some big thing that you have to plan, but it's just simple ways that you can implement celebrating your wins in your day to day to get your brain to want more of what you're working towards. So, if you are interested in knowing more about this and want to know how to implement this kind of stuff in your life, of training your brain to get it to work for you versus against you, reducing those resistance mechanisms so that you can achieve your desired success faster than you ever thought possible, I want to encourage you to click on the link below in the comment section. I have left my calendar link. You can click on there and set up a time for a free 30-minute call with me, and we'll talk more about how I can support you in your journey to achieve your desired success.